morning. Good morning. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Dr. Dennis McKenna. I'm the Executive Vice President, Senior Associate Clinical Dean, and President of the Faculty Group Practice here at Albany Med. And so I get the great honor of welcoming you and thanking you for joining us on this incredible morning here. By way of background, I'm an emergency medicine physician. I've been practicing at the medical center here in the emergency department since 1997. In point of fact, I'll be down there this evening on the trauma side. So I know firsthand how incredibly important it is for the work that the Red Cross does and the blood donations that make it possible for us to save lives here at the medical center. And I'm certainly honored to be joined by great physician colleagues like the ones in the front row here, Dr. Edwards and Dr. Porter, who will talk about the great work they do with this as well. Looking up here at the group of corporate sponsors as well, it's so remarkable to be in that company, and I want to thank all of them for being here today as well. It's certainly our pleasure to be joining with you in this incredible endeavor. We'd like to express how honored we are to be invited by the Red Cross to join all of you today for this significant and important campaign that is so critical to our mission. And when I say our, I don't just mean the medical centers, but obviously the entire region that has the capacity to save many lives. I should also point out that I'm also a proud blood donor, as I'm sure everyone in the room is, and I can tell you as somebody who does that here on the campus here at the medical center, there's something about that. And often I'll think to myself, I wonder where that blood's going to be used. And I'll just mention whoever created that app that allows you to track your blood is also a credible tool that you all have rolled out for us to be able to follow that. So thank you for that. So we thank you all today for joining us and the community organizations who are here to help us in this incredible cause. Now I'd like to turn the podium over to Kevin Coffey, who's the Chief Development Officer for the American Red Cross, who will serve as our MC this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McKenna. Today, throughout the United States and right here in the Capital Region, the American Red Cross is launching the Missing Types campaign. It's a campaign built to raise awareness about the unmet need for blood and how donors can save lives. Organizations and individuals are removing the letters A, B, and O from their brand logos, from signage, from websites, and any public-facing materials they may have, all in an effort to illustrate the critical role that if these blood types went missing, what would happen? You look at these iconic brands, if you take away these logos, the A, B's, and O's, you can see what a striking pause you see that if those go missing, patients' lives could be at risk. We're joined from representatives from many organizations here today, and thank you so much for your support. And we're also proud to announce that many of our partners are going to be hosting blood drives throughout the month of June. Stewart Shops is even going to be offering a pint of ice cream if you donate during the month of June. Our goal is to inspire new blood donors and former donors to come out and roll up their sleeves. It's incredibly important to make sure that our community has a healthy supply of blood products so patients in the time of need have available products. Our next speaker knows how important it is to have blood ready when seconds count in saving someone's lives. Please welcome retired Army Colonel Dr. Kurt Edwards, Chief of Trauma and Critical Care at Albany Med.
I just want to echo it's a real honor and pleasure to be here. And I want to say that my daughter says I'm like the king of sayings. If you have a young daughter, mine's 11 years old. Aphorisms are my kind of thing. So I have three simple things or aphorisms that I like to say about blood and blood donation. The first one is that money does not grow on trees, but blood almost does. Two is that there is truth in every joke, and maybe the old people had it right. And the third is we really need blood, okay? So to start off with is that money doesn't grow on trees, but blood almost does. I like to let you know that, 120 days a red blood cell dies. It's created by your body and it's available. It's available in you without cost, and it's going to die. If you don't give it away, you're going to make it. And so it's there, and it's going to keep coming back, and you're going to keep using it. So why don't we use it for something beneficial? And I'm going to talk about a trauma patient that really needed the blood, and that's one of the things that I hope I can impart on you. 2 is the old people might have had it right, or there's a truth in every joke, bloodletting, all right? 2,000 years of people doing bloodletting. Why did they do it so long? There's got to be some truth. Science in 2004, the journal, very prestigious article, talked about maybe there was something that reduced infections, which seems counter, but reducing your hemoglobin. I like to think of it as exercising your marrow, all right? To go ahead and give a transfusion, get your marrow pumped up so it produces new blood cells and you get a fresh start. So maybe there is a truth. We don't know the true science, but I can't imagine a practice that went on for 2,000 years that there wasn't some beneficial. Maybe antibiotics have kind of created the no longer need for that practice. But I think it's another reason that maybe there's a real benefit for you to transfuse. The third is we need it. He talked about trauma. On the trauma service right here, we received 3,700, last year, we continue to get bigger, 3,700 patients. We transfused 417 units of packed red blood cells. The important point I want to relate to you, and I know that Joanne Porter is going to talk a little about it, I have a patient upstairs that I had, 28-year-old in an MVC, he was the passenger, wasn't the driver, horrific accident. 4 quadrants, all 4 extremities were at risk. This gentleman lost his right leg. Coming from combat, I saw very similar wounds with 4 quadrants, but he's able to hold on to the other 3 limbs. People didn't think he was going to, but what did he require to get to that point? He's upstairs on rehab right now. He's texting. He texted me last week, all right? And amazing, because we never thought he was going to get the function of his arms. They were so badly injured. 140 units. We used about 65 in the first 24 hours. He wouldn't be upstairs right now if we didn't have that kind of donation that goes on. Those people willing to give. And he's up there, and I know his family, and I give him hugs all the time. Because a true hero, his attitude is amazing. He says, yeah, I'm going to get up and walk, and then I'm going to go get a cup of coffee for you. He likes to tell me, he's like, hey, Dr. Edwards, you get a cup of coffee for me, because he always sees me with it. But he's an amazing man. That's what we need. So let me say that, you know, the 3 simple things before I introduce the next speaker is that it's there. We're making it. Go ahead. And maybe it's even a benefit to you to giving it besides the benefit to the people that I take care of in the trauma bay all the time. So with those 3 and my daughter again, Daddy, you always make those stains. I'm going to turn it over to Joanne Porter, Hematology Oncology for the Children's Hospital. Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Joanne Porter. I'm the interim director at the Melody Center within the Children's Hospital here at Albany Med. And I'm grateful to have this opportunity to talk to you and explain about how critical the ability for my team to use blood components available from the blood bank and the American Red Cross is to the success of our patients. We manage over 300 active children on chemotherapy annually. And the only way I can get children through weekly or monthly chemotherapy is to be able to offer them the supports of red cell transfusion, platelet transfusion, sometimes plasma. And therefore, transfusion allows us to kind of correct the low blood levels that result from the effects of chemotherapy. We order approximately 20 different transfused products each week in my office, and that includes both inpatient and outpatients. And some of the inpatients require products every single day, whether it's red cells or platelets. The adult cancer patients also need this same type of support, and you can imagine it's a much larger scale than what I deal with on the pediatric side. Many of these products are issued to inpatients, but there's a huge outpatient service here where we're offering roughly about 125 products each week to different patients who need transfusional components. Our blood bank issued over 16,000 units of red cell products alone in 2018. So it gives you a scope of how critical the need is, how important it is for the medical staff to have that utility, and how important it is for the trauma team, 180 units in such a short period of time, and that's one example. So again, whether it's trauma or cancer treatment or patients with other blood disorders in which transfusions can be life-saving, it's critical that we have an adequate supply. I want to introduce you to Anne and her family. Anne is a 13-year-old lovely young woman who skipped a test this morning to be here. Actually, she had to reschedule the test to this afternoon, so thank you for being flexible about your schedule. Anne is a young woman who was born with a blood disorder called sickle cell disease. And this is a blood disorder that causes breakdown of her own red blood cells. But in addition to that primary problem, sickle cell patients struggle with many other complications, including deformity of their blood vessels, and in particular, in Anne's case, changes in the shape of the blood vessels in the brain. And that puts her at risk for having strokes. And it's a serious, in fact, one of the most life-threatening complications patients with sickle cell can have. And one of the ways hematologists attack that type of problem is we give them good red blood cells that aren't affected by the sickle cell gene. And it helps them dilute the amount of sickling in their blood proportionately. And we can actually measure how many sickle cell abnormalities there are, and we can keep the level at a nice low level to try and help this young lady grow up healthy and strong. So we're delighted today that she came with her family to perhaps answer your questions, but be a shining example and a hopefully inspiration to your donors as part of this new campaign to try and instill energy and enthusiasm for blood donors this summer. My team is very grateful to Albany Medical Center and the blood bank staff, the outpatient apheresis unit, for being so diligent in their efforts to keep a good supply and inventory of blood products available for all of the different doctors, whether it's the emergency room, the trauma team, the hematology service, or the oncology team. And it's critical that we need everyone out there to help us build that supply so that we can offer the right types of blood components to any sick patient that needs it. Please allow me to introduce Bernadette West. Dr. West and I met this morning at the Transfusion Committee meeting. She's from the American Red Cross, based in Connecticut, and she'll tell us more about the Missing Types campaign.
Thanks for the introduction. So we're very excited to be here, very thankful to be part of this kickoff today. Blood transfusion is the fourth most common inpatient hospital procedure in the U.S. And in a recent survey, over 26% of people said they didn't donate blood simply because they didn't really ever think about it. And so part of our purpose here this morning is to bring it to the forefront of your thoughts. 54% of people who responded in that survey thought they needed to know their blood type in order to give blood, but that's not true at all. You give blood, no matter what blood type you are, and as a bonus, Red Cross will tell you what blood type you have after you've donated. We're asking donors to make an appointment today to give blood or platelets. More blood donors are needed now to fill the missing types and ensure blood is always available for patients in need, as discussed by Drs. Porter and Edwards this morning. And we hope all of you will join the Missing Types movement and help ensure no patient has to experience life without the letters A, B, and O. Every day, children battling cancer, accident victims, new mothers who have gone through complicated childbirth, and patients that have long-standing hematological needs for weekly transfusions or red cell exchanges need blood products. This isn't an issue for just Red Cross, but for all blood collection organizations all around the world. And hearing Anna's story, we'll know more about this in a few minutes. But donating blood is one way to support the life-saving mission of the Red Cross. And with that, I'll introduce Kevin Coffey, who is the Regional Chief Development Officer, to talk about other ways and programs people can support that will make an impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. West. And many thanks to Albany Med and Doctors McKenna, Edwards, and Porter, and Saratoga Hospital and Columbia Memorial Hospital. And thank you, Ann, for sharing your story. Patient stories like that mean the world. You know, knowing that when you donate blood, you're making a huge impact on someone's life. A patient a few floors above that is, you know, suffering some trauma or is in need of treatments for their cancer. Rolling up your sleeves, you can make a huge impact. And that's what we hope the Missing Types campaign does. It inspires people to act. I'd also like to thank many of the partners represented here today, not only Albany Med, but the other hospitals, Saratoga Hospital, Columbia Memorial, as well as our corporate partners, Beacon Health Options, Hoffman's Car Wash, Finger Paint, MVP Healthcare, Price Chopper, State Farm, Stewart Shops, and Tri-City Rentals. For members of the media who are here with us today, I would encourage you to stop and talk to these partners and the patients as well. Find out why they're joining this cause in this campaign, because behind all of these partners, there's stories within their organizations of why they decided to get behind this cause. So we encourage you to talk to them as well. And as I stated earlier, our goal is simple with this campaign. It's to make people stop and think for 2 seconds. What would happen in a world if we didn't have A, B, and O? And all it takes is, you know, a little bit of your time to make a huge difference in someone else's life. And I would also like you to take a few minutes to think about other ways you can support our life-saving work. If you're unable to donate blood, we need volunteers. Volunteers play an incredibly critical role in our blood delivery. We have volunteer drivers that drive our blood products from all the area blood drives to our hospitals, to our testing facilities, and that's a volunteer role. We have 50 in the capital region, so if you're looking for a way to make an impact, you can volunteer. Likewise, we always need financial support. You know, it's complex to test and make sure that we have safe and reliable blood products. We also have blood transportation vehicles that go around the community, so we always need support there. So however you're able to support the Missing Types campaign, visit redcross.org/ENY. Thank you for coming today, and thank you for being part of the Capital Region Missing Types campaign. Members of the media are welcome to ask any questions or conduct individual interviews of any guests at our time. Before you leave here today, though, I hope you take a picture of this incredible banner with all these amazing sponsors and share it on social media, just so everyone else can see in the Capital Region the difference that we're trying to make with this campaign. And also, if you donate blood this month, you'll get a pint of ice cream, which is kind of awesome. So thank you, Stewart Shops, once again for that partnership. Thank you for coming today, and if there's any questions from the media, we can welcome them to any of the physicians. But thank you so much for coming.